guys, it's Sean here, doing a little bit different today. I want to cover the topic of Winnie the Pooh in China. So, as many of you may know or may not know, the new Disney created a new movie called Christopher Robin. I don't know why they didn't call it Winnie the Pooh. It's Winnie the Pooh, right? Maybe it was to try to outfox the Chinese censors.
All units respond.
So basically it's a story of this older guy who grew up with Winnie the Pooh, and now he's over Winnie the Pooh, and now he's depressed or something, and then so Winnie the Pooh comes back in his life. So kind of a sappy Disney movie, right? What we all come to love and enjoy from Disney.
What to do indeed. Pooh? Christopher Robin.
The tree I remember was in the countryside, not here in London. There's no opening, I suppose.
So basically it's a story of this older guy who grew up with Winnie the Pooh, and now he's over Winnie the Pooh, and now he's depressed or something, and then so Winnie the Pooh comes back in his life. So kind of a sappy Disney movie, right? What we all come to love and enjoy from Disney. But the funny part is, in China it's banned. So why did they ban Winnie the Pooh? So back in 2013, when Obama was president, he took a stroll with Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, and they took a comparison, right, of him compared to Winnie the Pooh as Xi Jinping and Obama as the tiger, Tigger, I think is his name. So it looks pretty much comparable, right? So after that point, on the Chinese Firewall, they started banning all images of Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, kind of funny. Later the same year, they banned N, the letter N in English. Because people were putting N greater than 2, which means number of terms for Xi Jinping greater than 2, right? He's obviously becoming a dictator. So, yeah, they just put this out, and then N greater than 2 became banned in China. Like, it doesn't mean anything, but that's how crazy these dictators are. Another impact was earlier also they pulled Avatar did come out in China, but they forced it only on IMAX, and these ticket prices went from the original whatever $12, $15, and it jumped to like $20, $30 on the black market to buy the tickets because it was so popular, you know, about this environmental issue. Obviously China's terrible at doing the environment, destroying the environment, which Avatar pointed out indirectly in a sci-fi version with the blue guys, but you know, Chinese government thought it was dangerous. So what's not banned in China? What's less dangerous than Winnie the Pooh? What's less dangerous is whole buildings falling over, killing all the residents inside, even though it's a brand new building. This is not banned in China. They cover it up, but it's not banned in China. So they keep building these really shoddy buildings. They're just falling over, literally in a few years. It's not even a decade. These buildings last less than 10 years. So the Chinese government, they're okay with selling really crappy quality buildings, and then all these people are just totally screwed. Another thing they're okay with is because of these shoddy buildings, you know, Ai Weiwei and some other Chinese intellectuals, they uncovered a scandal up north when they had the earthquakes in 2008. These school buildings collapsed and killed all these kids. Now, the really sad part was only the school buildings collapsed. The local buildings were fine, so it's just these constructors for the schools. You know, it's third party, no one was checking. They built really shoddy buildings, and they all collapsed and killed 5,000 people. So, you know, that's okay that happens. Covered up, of course. But yeah, they don't go after these shoddy construction business, which is literally killing people by the thousands. Another thing they're okay with is air pollution. So they have this rating system, and in Beijing, which is the capital, and also sometimes Shanghai, they've recorded over 500 pollutants per million. I think that's the gauge. And anything over 300 leads to serious health issues. So basically, Beijing, they're really killing you if you're there longer than a couple of years. Like if you're an old person, 70, and then you're living in Beijing, boom, you're gonna be totally asphyxiated and just die right from that stuff. Or young babies, they might even die just because of this air pollution, right? So terrible. That's okay, right? Killing off your own pit. They are trying to reel that back in a little bit, but since there's no freedom of speech, no one can complain and scandalize these companies that are polluting, so there's no regulation on them. They just bribe the local officials. So, that's the whole reason why you have freedom of speech. Another thing which I find really shocking, although not too shocking, I lived in communist Poland, is none of the water is drinkable. You can't even boil the water. People go and buy whole things of water to drink. But they still wash their dishes with this crappy dishwasher, which is it really healthy? I mean, they're steaming them hot, so maybe they're killing all the bacteria, but it basically has heavy metals, which is from all these industrial pollution. So again, they can't even produce decent water quality for their citizens. This is a really major fail on the part of a government. Any government, you can't provide water. That's the basic of life. Maybe a little more important than Winnie the Pooh. Another thing is they decided, hey, we're going to get off coal somehow, so we're going to build this massive dam called the Three Gorges, and it's just literally the world's biggest dam ever built. Now, to do that, what happened was obviously the water fills up. They had to displace 1.3 million people. So 1.3 million people lost their houses. They're giving probably these shoddy buildings that are falling apart, right? So it's really terrible. They're losing architectural sites, historical sites are all flooded underwater. Not only that, but downstream, this river that's blocked by the Three Gorges, all the river silt would go all the way to Shanghai. And then you get to Shanghai and the land kept increasing and expanding because you got all this river silt, similar to New Orleans. Now, since they blocked the water and it's just coming a very slow flow, like from this heavy to this slow flow, the river salt really isn't arriving in Shanghai, so the ocean water is getting closer and closer and really starting to erode Shanghai. So Shanghai will probably sink underwater, similar to the issue they have with Venice, where Venice is sinking. Shanghai will eventually be sinking because of Three Gorges and getting this massive electrical supply, right? Electricity is good, but displace 1.3 million people, sink your second biggest city. Maybe you didn't make a good choice there. Another thing that's really happening is because they overfarmed north of Beijing, the Gobi Desert expands every year, and so it's literally eating up 67 square kilometers a year. So that's roughly 30% of China is already desert. 30% of the country. How is this not a major crisis? No freedom of speech, no coverage. Hey, it doesn't exist until you had the sandstorms in Beijing. They literally have sandstorm and all this massive pollution, right? So it's horrible. The other major issue they have is smoking. So a lot of people were smoking in Europe, a lot of people were smoking, in the 60s in the US, and then slowly this changed over time. So China has the biggest population of smokers in the world. They have 350 million to 300 million estimated smokers in the country. So this is the whole population of the US smoking, basically. They're having 1 million people die from cancer related to smoking. 1 million people dying, and they're estimated within this next couple of generations, 200 million people are going to die related to cancer smoking. So what does this cost? It's estimated 57 billion in GDP a year. 57 billion. That's bigger than many governments around the world, because they, aren't really cracking down on smoking and trying to make it illegal. Less important watches, right? They got a fake Rolex, you got fake clothes. What's the harm done? It's just crappy quality clothing. Sometimes you have different tiers, and some of the best knockoffs are really good. But themselves to counterfeit goods that people wear or put on their arms and maybe you throw away after a year. They make fake food. Now, how is this not a scandal? You have fake rice. This is the basic staple of all Chinese diet is rice. They have fake rice. They have fake rice noodles. So another major staple, right? Rice and rice noodles. That's probably half their food intake. You have fake eggs. And worst of all, you have fake baby food. This is baby powder, the milk powder, the cow's milk, they make into powder and then feed it to babies. They make fake versions of this, killing off their own young. Now, of course, nowadays you can't even buy Chinese-made milk powder because a couple bad apples, because the government wasn't doing their job with the FDA. They don't even have an FDA. They just let people do whatever the hell they want. Or they bribe their way out of it. They're not caught. They have fake pork. This is one of the major meats of China is pork. It's very much a staple of the diet. You have duck, pork right up there, number 1 and number 2. And they're like eating, like literally they eat like pork, probably 30% more than Americans, right? We have a lot of pork, bacon, whatever, pork chops, but they eat a lot, really heavy diet of pork. So they found fake pork that turned blue in someone's freezer.
Yuck!
They also make fake walnuts. They were caught making these nuts stuffed with cement. What? They also make fake knockoff wine. So they take these nice bottles of wine, they drain it out with like a little tiny thing, and then they fill it up with wine that's similar, or maybe it's not even good, it's not even wine. So they got fake wines. They have that also in Europe and in America, but not to the same extent. It's just crazy. And also because people just don't know wine, so it's just, you don't know what it's supposed to taste like, so you just pay a lot of money, hey, maybe it's good. And they're also making these rice buns that they're, again, back to the rice material, they're making them out of cardboard. So it's okay to make fake food, but they want to go after Winnie the Pooh. So this is China. This is my fake news coverage for the day. Hope you guys like it. Give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe below. And hopefully share with your friends. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.